Okay, everybody, welcome to our team call tonight, December 4th. Tonight we have Lena Glomp on the call with us. She's an Emerald Ambassador from Chicago. I met Lena in 2014 at the convention in Dallas. She is a friend of my sister, Erin. They knew each other through the company that Lena works with, Mead Johnson. And we just kind of have a friendship that just kind of blossomed all of a sudden. Let me mute everybody. There we go. We just have this friendship that kind of blossomed because I enjoyed her so much, and I knew if my sister liked her that she had to be awesome. So Lena's going to talk to us tonight a little bit about her journey to Emerald, which you're getting close to Sapphire, aren't you?
Crossing fingers. Yes. I also roller coast just like everybody else.
Right.
So I'm excited. My goal was the end of December, but I don't think it's going to happen end of December. So we'll see, but I'm not too far off, which is good.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's fantastic. So Lena's going to tell us about her journey to Emerald. I gave her a couple things to hit on earlier this week, and then we'll leave about 10 minutes or so at the end for questions so that you can ask her, pick her brain, ask her anything that you want to know, and anything else. So Lena, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you.
Okay, perfect. Well, thanks you guys. Thanks so much for having me. I also hosted Cassie on my Zoom as a guest, and my team absolutely just loved Cassie. So a lot of them know her just from convention, leaders retreat, etc. So I have a Chicago accent. So I live in the southwest suburb of Chicago. I lived in Chicago for years and years, and then we now live in the suburbs. So it's called Lamont, Illinois. I have 2 kids. I have a 5-year-old, a 3.5-year-old, and I am expecting. So I'm 16 weeks. I haven't really made it like super totally Facebook official, but I trust you guys. So, but yeah, and so I started Plexus. I was a total cliche. It was January 1, 2014. And my son, Sammy, at that point was 7 months old or so. And I just was feeling awful. I just felt like I had that mommy, like the brain fog. Like I currently work in medical sales. So I sell, baby formula. It's work for Mead Johnson, and that's where I met Erin, Cassie's older sister. And so I had been watching Erin for about 6 to 8 months or so, and I really was like, oh God, like what did she get herself into? I was super skeptical. I'm also a nurse. I worked in women's health for about 7.5 years, and so I had never taken supplements in my life. And so after I had Sammy, my second son, I just couldn't get myself back together. I had stopped breastfeeding. I had gained like 10, 15 pounds. I was eating uncontrollably. I really had like no control over what I was eating. I wasn't sleeping good at all. I basically just, was just feeling like blah. Like I just like that postpartum, like just don't really feel that great. Just wanted to get back into shape. So I remember looking at Erin's post and I'm like, well, I'm just going to do this the right way. I'm just going to eat healthy and work out. And so, a lot of people always say that, but the thing is I was doing that and I was still like in my slump. I did it for a good 4 months, and I just was, the biggest thing is my gut wasn't in balance. And so I also have, a history of irritable bowel syndrome. And so when Erin was posting all the stuff about GI health, that's really what sparked my attention. So what I did was at the end of December 2013, I actually finally messaged Erin and I said, can I look at the ingredient list? And I actually took it to 5 doctors that I call on because I have access to OBs and peds. And so my close friends, I said, hey, will you guys just look at this ingredient list and tell me what you think about these products? And all 5 of them said, absolutely, these are just natural plant-based ingredients. There's nothing harmful in these ingredients. So then I felt better. But then I took it one step further just because I'm a nurse, and I just really wanted to make sure that the ingredients were safe and I wasn't going to put anything harmful in my body. So I then took it to my internal medicine doctor, and I had him look at the ingredients, and then I asked also asked for a blood draw. And I did that because I have high cholesterol. It's genetic. So I have 3 other siblings, and me and my oldest brother, our blood cholesterol is always like 250, even when I was in high school. And so, I'm only in my 30s. And so I didn't want to be put on medication. And so I talked to my doctor. I said, let's run my blood draw and let's do it every 6 months. And so he said, okay, that's fine, because he wanted to put me on meds. And so my cholesterol has gotten better every 6 months. I actually still get it drawn every 6 months. And so my last one, like just the total cholesterol was about 174. So I haven't seen numbers like that in a long time. So when I saw my blood work, that was something that really caught my attention, because as a nurse, I know we look at our blood, like the blood values and all that all the time to see like how a baby is doing or how our mom is doing. And so I know that numbers don't lie. And so I was like, man, like this is really working. Another thing that was working really well for me was my irritable bowel syndrome. So I had been on another probiotic before, but I remember Aaron telling me, you know what, this one's different. This one has the enzyme. This one's really going to target the yeast and the fungi in your gut. You're actually going to get relief. You're going to have your less bloating, and these are what can happen. And so I did have that. I started experiencing that. And, I used to have flare-ups maybe, I don't know, 8 to 10 times a month. I've been hospitalized for IBS for 3 nights back in 2002. A very, very bad. They said I had a really bad case of inflamed gut. And so that's really when I kind of got diagnosed with this. So it was in 2002. That's how long I've been kind of battling with this. But I will say I probably have had a flare-up maybe twice in a year. So it has helped me tremendously with my gut health. And so when I first talked to Aaron, and I said, Aaron, I'm not interested in the business at all, because I have a full-time job that I really like, and I have 2 small kids. However, once all this stuff started happening to me with my blood work and then my own personal results from gut health, and then I was starting to feel better. I got rid of that brain fog. I did lose my baby weight. It took me about 7 months, and I lost about 20 pounds. And it wasn't anything crazy or drastic. I just would take the products every single day. I'd watch what I eat. I can't diet. That was a huge thing for me. I have tried every diet out there, even the wrestler's diet. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, but it's like you eat 2 hot dogs a day. It's awful. And it's like a 700 calorie diet. It's really just crazy. Okay. So me and my friends in college, we did that. Right. So, I've tried things. I've tried Weight Watchers, and and I've never been overweight or anything. So I don't want to give the wrong impression. But, I was always like, oh, I need to lose 10 pounds. I feel like a lot of females are like, oh, I need to lose 5 to 10 pounds. So I did. There. Can you hear me? I don't know how that happened. Okay. Okay. So I did have the weight loss, and I started having increased energy. And so, my neighbors and a couple of friends started asking, like, what are you doing? You look, you guys, you and your husband, because I made Sam start it with me. And so they're like, you feel it. I started like sending people to Erin. I'm like, oh, Erin, here's a couple customers. And she's like, what are you doing? Just get a couple customers and get your products paid for. And I'm like, okay, I'll just kind of dabble in it a little bit. So one of my biggest regrets with this business is I sat on it for about 6 months, and I wish I didn't. That's really my only regret so far with Plexus. And so I kind of will tell you guys a little bit of my timeline. So I sat on it. I mean, I started January 1, 2014, but I didn't really start promoting till like April. And then I hit silver in August. So April, May, June, July, August took me that long to get 3 people because I really wasn't interested. I didn't have a desire to do it. And then, after having all of the different successes, I was like, I have to share this with people because I know a lot of my friends kind of have the same issues that I do. So then the light bulb really went off is when I looked at the compensation plan. And I'm going to be very honest. I'm very much driven. Like, I want to provide for my family. I want to save for college for my kids. I want to retire early. I want to save for my retirement. And so my sales cap came on, and I looked at the comp plan, and I was literally blown away. Like, I think I got on YouTube and watched the video maybe like 60 times. I would watch it, pause it, take notes, watch it, pause it, take notes. And so I at that point, I had been doing some stuff, obviously, because I had been silver, and I really was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this. And so one of my biggest tips, I'm gonna give you guys just a couple of my tips. One of the biggest things I did was I had a big talk with my husband. And so having spousal or significant other support is so, so key in this business. I can't stress it enough. And the reason why is because when you're going to do this business, it's so great because you can, my computer light is blue. It's shining on me. It'll go away soon. But it's so key to have that spousal support, especially if you have children. For example, like today, I signed a girl up in Rockford, which is 2 hours away from me. So I had signed her up last month, but we've been trying to get together. And I woke up today at, early in the morning, fed my kids, got them ready, and then I drove to Rockford. It was a huge snowstorm, so it took me 3.5 hours to get back home. So I literally was gone all day long today. And so my husband, Sam, he had to be with the kids all day, and then I was like, well, I have a Zoom call tonight. I'm going to be on. So you got to get them ready for bed tonight because I need to do a couple things in my office. And so I will say at first, my husband wasn't so willing to be so supportive. You know what I mean? He was just like, well, and so when I had that talk with him, like we literally had a family meeting. It was like 1 hour long in our dining room. And I said, listen, I see the potential in this business. I see what these products have done for me, and he's had great results too. I see what they've done for my other friends and family members, and I watch Diamond documentaries all the time and testimonies. And so I said, I need you to be on board. And what that entails is when convention comes around, it's a must. I treat convention like a meeting. It's something I will never, ever debate. Do I go or do I not go? It's worth every dollar, okay? And like Super Saturday, it's worth it. You have to go to events. And when when we do Zoom calls, you have to sign into Zoom calls. The things are events like this, you have to stay plugged in. It's so easy once you unplug to stay unplugged. And so that's the thing. My husband knows, like, I treat my Zooms like business meetings. That's what I treat them as. And so I take it very serious. I don't just take it like, I'm just going to cancel this because I don't feel like doing it. Like, I'm very much hold myself accountable. And so that's the kind of stuff I talked to my husband about. And then I said, let's walk through this comp plan because this is what I learned. And I want to share this with you because this is our financial freedom together. And so once I did that, my husband was a lot more on board. So if any of you guys are struggling with that, I think it's definitely worth your time to have a sit down. And whether it's even like your family member, if there's not all my family members are like, yeah, I love Plexus. I have a lot of family members that are not on board. Now I look at Cassie and Audrey and Aaron, and I have envy of them because they have such a great relationship and they have a lot of family members that's on board. My sister is not like that. She will not do Plexus. She will not try it. She doesn't care about the business. She just doesn't like MLMs, but that's okay. I don't let people like that affect what I do. And so, and my family all knows that. They know how passionate I am about it. So, my first tip is just make kind of an arrangement with your spouse or significant other, whether it's your parent or anybody that you live with, because you need to have that support. So that's like my biggest tip. My second tip is schedule time each day to work your business. So I work full time, and I work about 40 to 50 hours a week. I travel often for my job. My husband does medical sales, so he travels for his job. So we have to, lots of times I'm home a week by myself with the kids, and then I'm gone and he's with the kids. And so I always tell my new people when they start, at least give yourself 15 to 30 minutes a day. Just start that way. Start that way and at least commit that much to your business, and then sometimes, sometimes I'll spend maybe 2 hours on it, but then the next night it'll be 15 minutes. So really schedule time. And so something that was a challenge for me too when I began is because I was doing, my mommy work with the kids. I was doing my daytime job. Then I was doing my Plexus business. I was kind of all over the place, and it wasn't healthy. And so when I really decided to kind of get a schedule and get in my groove, that's when a lot of things changed for my business, and I kind of started propelling forward. And I just felt like, because before I was kind of a mess. And so whatever works for you, figure that out and do that. And so like for me, Sunday nights, every single Sunday night, I get in front of I sit in my office before I go to bed, and I get my planner out, and I look at, okay, which teammates do I need to talk to this week? Who do I need to do I do coaching calls with my team. So my level ones, in some level twos, I'll do coaching calls, and I do them about 15 to 20 minutes. So like I will send text messages like Sunday night, and I really respect people's times on the weekend. So I'll try to send them before like 8 o'clock, and I'll say, hey, I'm looking at my schedule. And I'll give them like 3 options. Okay, does this day or time work for you? And I want to get you on my planner, like get you on my calendar. And so my team knows I do that, so they're very responsive. They kind of expect that for me, the ones I do coaching calls with. So that's just something that I established with them. But I look at at Sunday night, I look at all that. I look at, okay, I still do my IPA every single day. Just because I'm running a team, and I have a team of now like almost 1,600 people. And so the beauty of it though is I'm not really training all of these people, because I have built strong leaders on my team, because it's duplication. So it's so key, especially if you're new, to be starting out. Like my team watches what I'm doing. So like I have a group page, and like I'll do, forever I was doing like silver and 7, or I was doing like slim, before we had slim block challenge, or like a 7-day challenge. I was doing all that, but now my team's doing all that. So now I've kind of handed it over to them, and I have a lot of different leaders that do that stuff. So kind of takes the pressure off me, which is great. And you guys all want that, because guess what? You're always going to have new people that you're trying to train. And so it's just so key. I really try to like, every month I'm adding new people, but I really try to like pick 2 to 3 and really like give them all of my time at a time. So I'll like nurture them, kind of hold their hand, take care of them, and answer their questions. Constant communication is huge. That is something, I will tell you this. I have 2 strong legs. I have a strong leg in Chicago and a strong leg in Peoria. They are my 2 best friends. One of them I went in nursing school. One of them I met in high school. One's Emerald. She just hit Emerald last month. The other one is Senior Ruby. And the reason why I really believe that they were doing so well is because when I commute into the city every day, so I have an hour drive, I called them. One I would call Cindy, or I would call Ingrid. And you guys, still to this day, I talk to them probably 5 times a week. And so I basically was using, if any of you guys drive or commute, that is prime time for building your business. I never listen to the radio, ever. I am using that time to talk to teammates, to talk to my team. And if nobody can talk to me at that time, I am on MLM Nation. Not sure if you guys have ever heard of it, but it's a podcast. You can download it from your phone. I get on MLM Nation and I just type in like follow up. I type in cold messaging. And then what they do is all different successful people and different businesses, it'll pop up, and then I just play it. And they're usually, some are 30 minutes, some are 45 minutes. So it's great because most of the time you don't even know what business they're doing. And so I'm getting tips from other from top leaders in different businesses, which I like too. So anyway, back to what I was saying, my 2 top runners, I had constant communication with them. So think about your team. Think about like your top runners. How often are you talking to them? Not text messaging or email, but like how often do you get with them really on the phone? And so, and if you're answering, oh, I really don't talk to them, that's something I think that is really worthwhile to start pursuing, and maybe just having scheduled times, because guess what? Everyone's so busy. We're all working. A lot of us have family and different jobs, but if you can get like a scheduled time with them and let them know, you know what, I want to pour into your business. I want to help you. They will look at it as they will be so appreciative, and they'll be so thankful that you're taking your time out of your day to help them. So that's one of my tips too. Okay. Third tip is concentrate on building your business activities when you are working your business. So really concentrate on like what's going to build your business. A lot of times, I will admit it, I get in like this management mode where I'm like, okay, what's so-and-so doing? What's so-and-so doing? How can I help her? What can I do? And I'm like, wait, okay, I didn't do anything for my own business this week. And so that's where that's where you kind of fall into that, ooh, I'm not really growing. And so that's something, think about what you're doing. Again, for me, it's Sunday night. I even put in my planner, okay, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going to make a post about this. I have to schedule everything, you guys, just because my life is so crazy with jobs, right, and the kids. And so that's just how I function. And that's how I can do it all. I'm very, very scheduled. But schedule those kind of business building activities, even if it's like watching, I don't know, like when we were at Leaders Retreat and they did like that extra session with the Jewel panel. That was like an hour and some. I mean, that is something I consider business building. Like that was an amazing call. Stuff like that. So that kind of stuff, I think you should work on it, but you can't just be doing that every day, because that's not really going to grow your business. And so when my team will say, oh, I just can't really find anybody, or nobody wants to do the business with me, I always say, like, what have you done differently? Have you reached out? Like, have you reached out to any new people? And they're like, no, I really haven't. I've just been following up with my customers and my wholesale ambassadors. I'm like, okay, like, but what new people? Because you need new people to grow your business. And then they're like, I just kind of feel stuck. So I always, talk to them about, okay, are your kids in any sports? Or are they any activities? And when you go to those activities, are you socializing with the parents? Are you involved in church? Are you talking to anybody in your church groups that you have? Like, I joined the women's league in my suburb, and I've met, oh my gosh, probably like 50 different women. And a lot of them take my products, and some of them have joined my team. But I always say, like, branch out and widen your network as much as you can. Because I feel like one of the biggest complaints I get from my team is I just don't have anybody else. I feel like I've tapped out of my market. And so the thing is, I've been doing this for 3 years almost, and I don't feel that way. Like, I still feel like I have my whole suburb, basically, that I can tap into. So it's just as a matter of, and I always am like, you know what? I have days or weeks where I'm like, I didn't really reach out to anybody new. And then the next week, I'm like, okay, I need to reach out to at least 5 new people by Wednesday. And so a lot of I like to call my chicken listers, but when we do that stuff, a lot of times they're like my close friends, and then they'll respond. And then a couple of them have just recently purchased from me. And they're like, I've been thinking about doing this for a while now, and it's the right opportunity. You know what I mean? So it's just like, think about what you're doing daily and how it's really affecting your business and reaching your goals. So, okay, fourth one, don't reinvent the wheel. Huge. I do not reinvent the wheel ever. I just don't, you guys. There are a lot of people that are like super creative and they want to do all their own challenges, and I just don't have time for that at all. And the beauty of this business is people love to share things. We all want to help each other. It's totally fine to copy and paste, or if somebody's doing a challenge, say, hey, I saw you were doing a challenge. Do you mind if I get in on that? I just want to be a fly on the wall and see how you do it. I don't think, I've never said no to someone, and nobody's ever said no to me. We all want to help each other. So the thing is, don't reinvent the wheel. Just, partner up with people. I really feel like this company, everyone is so nice and they want to help you. We all really want to help each other succeed. So that's a huge tip for me. Now, everybody is different. Like one of my level 1 Ingrid, she's very into doing her own thing. She wants to make her own graphics. She wants to make her own posts. She's very theatrical, and that's just her. And I love her for that. I think she's wonderful and she has time to do it, and I appreciate it, but it's just not me. And that's totally fine. Beauty of this business is we don't have to be like each other. And so that's something that is so key, and it's a huge time saver for me. Now, what I do say is I will make it my own. So like a lot of times, if I'm doing like a boot camp and I've gotten it from someone, I don't just copy and paste that stuff. I take the time, I look at it, and I add my bits and pieces of information to it, but I maybe use it as like a base. So that's a huge tip. Okay, my last final tip, and then we can do some Q&A, is taking breaks. There's going to be so many times where you're like, oh my God, I'm like so overwhelmed right now. Like, I just can't do this right now. I just can't. And then you're going to get so turned off by Plexus. So for me, it's usually the weekends. Like I am hardcore Monday through Friday. Friday hits when I turn off my work computer, finish up my stuff with my Plexus, and then I'm kind of done till Monday. And I didn't do that for probably the first 2.5 years. I turned Emerald in April, and that's really when I started last April. So that's really when I started like thinking about, okay, I need to have some work-life balance. My kids are still so super small. Well, granted, like today I've been gone all day long. So there's always going to be times where it doesn't always work out that way. But I really try to do like Saturdays, mommy time. I'm with my family. I really don't like to be on social media at all. And if I do, I'll post a picture of my kids or something like that. And Sunday times too. I really like to have Saturday, Sunday as kind of like my time. But then again, I work really well, like not under pressure, but Monday through Friday, those are my work days. I'm very focused, and that's something I can do. And I've trained myself to do that. So for me, taking off like a Saturday and Sunday is not going to hurt my business because I almost do double time during the week, if that makes sense. So, but I was very, very guilty of, in the beginning, having my phone on me all the time, like even at dinner, to the point where my daughter's like, Mommy, you're always on the phone. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is not good. Like I can't have my 5-year-old feel this way. And so I never have my phone even around me during dinner time ever. It's gone. When I'm driving and my kids are in the car, I am not like even paying attention to my phone. Radio's off, we're talking. So I've made like lots of different changes that way, just because you still have to be true to yourself, and because the thing is, if you're doing your business 24 hours a day, you're just going to get burnt out. So that's something, those tips that I've given you are kind of like the tips that I live by that I think have really helped me with my business. And so really quick, I want to tell you guys my timeline. So, and then I'll open up for Q&A. So when took me forever to get the silver, but I was silver for 4 months. Then I hit gold, and then I was gold for 3 months. Then I hit senior gold, and then I was senior gold for 3 months. Ruby for 3 months. Then I hit senior ruby 4 months later, and then emerald 5 months later. So I was like on that track of 3 months, 3 months, 3 months. One of the things that really helped me was I am like a crazy Post-it note person. Like on my computer, I have all these Post-it notes, and I write my goals down, you guys. I know everybody always says it, It's so, so true. I would write it down and I would circle, like when I wanted to be like Ruby in July, I'm like July 31, Ruby, huge circle. Like this is my goal. And then next to him, like how many points? And I would stock my points all like every month by month. I was looking at my points. And so one thing I realized when I was doing coaching calls is people don't really understand their points. And some people were like doing their primary points and their points outside their primary, like and combining them. They just didn't understand it. And these were girls that I've had on my team for over a year. So think about your team and do they really understand how they're tracking their points? Because that was a big aha for me. I was like, wow, like, okay, maybe that was a mistake on me. Maybe I should have told them earlier. So tracking your points is key because that just gives you a lot of where am I at? How am I going to get to my next goal? Writing your goals down, huge. I always say at least for your month, write 3 goals. And if you don't make them, try to make at least 2 out of the 3. In the next month, carry over the 1. So, okay, we can open it up, Cassie.
Thank you, Lena. That was really great. I was running out of room on my one sheet of paper. I should have known better than to just get one.
I mean, I can talk forever. So,
well, if you guys have a question, just go ahead and unmute yourself. If you're on your phone, well, how about I just unmute everybody and we'll just wing it like that. How's that sound? Okay, everybody's unmuted. So if you have a question for Lena, go ahead and ask it.
So I have a question.
Okay, Erin.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were talking about like the list and how you don't feel tapped out at all. I guess what I've been struggling with lately is I have a bunch of people on my list that I haven't talked to in like years. And they're not somebody that I'm like interacting with on Facebook or really at all. We're just friends on Facebook. But there are lots of people that I know this would benefit them and I would like to reach out to them. But I'm like terrified of coming across as just, hey, I want your money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Erin, I agree with you. I'm gonna be like super 100% honest. There are people on my Facebook that I have not seen in 20 years. Mm-hmm. I would never message them about Plexus. Only because what I would do is start commenting on like their Facebook stuff. Like if say they went to dinner and it's maybe a place that you used to go to, private message them. This is the stuff I do. I would private message them, be like, oh my God, I saw you went to this restaurant. I used to go there all the time with my parents. Do they still have so-and-so on the menu? Make something up like that. Then respond back. And then, then just say, hey, how have you been? I know I haven't seen you in so long. Okay. And then like kind of build a relationship. That's my biggest tip. It's like build a relationship only because I get so many messages from people trying to get me to do their business and people I haven't talked to in so long. And I always can tell it's like, it's not a personal message. It's like, hey, I'm doing so-and-so. I think you would be great at it. Message me if you'd be interested. So like, I get turned off by stuff like that because I feel like it's not personal at all. Mm-hmm. So really, if you feel like with those people, Erin, if you feel like you can help them, if you know like if they make a post about having low energy, the next day, like some of their stuff, so then your stuff comes up on their feed. Mm-hmm. So like the next day, like today, I made a post about energy. I just had a picture of my pink drink, and I was in my car, and I was like so thankful for my Plexus energy. I had such a crazy busy weekend. So make a post about energy, or if somebody makes a post, they're talking about how they're always constantly sick. Mm-hmm. Make a post like about gut health and the correlation with being overall healthy. So kind of do stuff like that. And those people are watching, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I personally I don't reach out to people I haven't talked to in a long time and start with Plexus first. Okay. I ease into it.
Yeah.
It comes up, I ease. You what?
I didn't really want to do that. I'm just like, I don't know how. So, okay. That makes me feel better that it's not that I felt like I had to, but no, I'm going to build a relationship with these people before I ever brought it up. So that's good.
I agree with you 100%.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Where's Chelsea? I know
Sorry.
Chelsea's got a question. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Who is it?
I've got a question, Lena.
Hi.
I've asked this before, but as far as your group is concerned, did you immediately start your group page and just like get after it, or did you kind of wait a while? Did you kind of team up with someone else? How did you keep everyone kind of involved and really motivated at first?
So when I first started on Erin's team page, and I remember I was with Erin at an event, and I said, do you think I need to have a team page? And she said, oh yeah. She's like, you definitely should, because what your team needs to learn might be different from my overall team. And so I had talked, some people do pair up. I don't know. I mean, I feel like if it's a husband and wife, I think that's different. But when it comes to friends, from what I've seen from sidelines and some other people, it seems like one person kind of takes the lead, and then the second person doesn't do as much. And so I don't team up with anyone on my team page. It's just a personal page that I have. And then I just try to stay active as much. I do post in there at least 1 or 2 times a day. And I really try to post informative stuff, like stuff about like the back office, or stuff about making commission, how to post on Facebook. I try to post stuff like that just to kind of help people. And it's kind of like educational almost. And I've had a couple of people say, you know what, like your page is one of my favorite pages because I'm actually learning something from it. So I try to stay away from because a lot of them are on Erin's page and they're on my page. I try to stay away from like duplicating what they're posting and really make it my own. Do you have a team page, Ashley?
I do.
Yeah, and how?
It's more like a mom and pop shop because it's so small. But that's why like no one comments, but I love it. I just didn't know if you have other people kind of join in on that, or you just kind of write it alone until your group builds.
Yeah, and I love and I know Cassie I think does this too, like the Way to Go Wednesday posts, and people love to be praised. Love it. I don't care if it's like, oh my God, they just got a first customer, praise them. So we do that like every Wednesday. We do that one. And so a lot of times it's always like the same people who comment, but they're the people that are your runners. They're the people that are paying attention. And so, keep up and active with it. It shows them your leadership. Now there's some of my team that are silvers that have team pages and like nobody comments on it. And it's like crickets. And so that's okay. That's going to happen in the beginning. Totally normal. Don't let that discourage you.
Okay. Thank you.
But I would keep it up.
Yeah, I think it's good practice because, like, when I first started my team page, I didn't know what I was posting. I mean, it kind of took me a while to figure out, okay, what do I want in my files? Do I want to have a bunch of graphics on here? I kind of had to play with it a little bit before I figured it out. So it was kind of good that I didn't have this huge group of people that are like, what the heck is she doing? So even when it's small, it's kind of good to play around and kind of figure out how you want it to flow. And it'll change.
Yeah. And I'm very weird about it too, because if there's somebody that's been on the page that's been on it for a year and I don't know who they are, guess what? I delete them. I'm like, they don't need to be on my team page because they're not doing anything anyway. So I actually like, my page is like not even 400. I have a way bigger team than that.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions?
I have a question if my voice will cooperate. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So do you add your customers to a specific page? Like, I like to know if people are reading things. And they don't always respond when you direct message them.
Yeah.
Do you ever do that with your customers?
I do not add them to any pages. There are people that I have one of my sidelines does a group just for customers. I don't do that. I am very and if people don't respond, so what I do when I sign up a customer or ambassador, I always know their start date. Like I'll text them and say, I send them a thank you email, and then in that thank you email, I'll say, I'm going to be following up with you frequently in the first weeks, just FYI. Then, like, when I get their products, I know the date they get them. Put it in my cell phone. Like, I'll say, Cassie got our product. Then I'll say, Cassie week 1, Cassie week 2, Cassie week 4, Cassie week 6. I put it in my cell phone right away. And then I message them. I never email. I only Facebook message. I don't even text. I just do the messenger. And I mean, if they don't have, most of my people have Facebook. So I am to the point where I was just telling one of my level ones, I'm very different how I message people now. I don't know if I have more confidence or if I just feel like I'm kind of no bullshit, excuse my language. But like I have a girl, for example, she was actually on my dream team list. She ordered the triplex, was doing great, rocking and rolling with it, and then all of a sudden stopped. So, and she was ignoring me forever. I messaged her. I said, hey, Angie, I saw that you saw my message. Why haven't you responded to me? I really just want to know if you're taking the product so I can help you. She responded back within 1 minute because she hadn't responded to 3 messages. And she was like, LOL, I feel like I'm sitting at coffee with you. And she's like, girl, I'm taking the ProBio 5. That's it. But I totally love it. I said, awesome. I'm so glad you're loving the ProBio 5. I just wanted to see where you were. And just because I really like to help my customers. So I am kind of, not that I'm like more pushy or aggressive, but I'll kind of call people out a little bit like, hey, I know you saw my last message I just sent to you. Just let me know. I really want to help you. I make it about them. I make it that I want to help them. And I don't make it about me at all. Mm-hmm. And people will respond to that. So think about, because before I would say, hey, it's been about 4 weeks. I haven't heard back from you. Just want to know how you're feeling. Let me know when you get a minute. I kind of was very passive.
Call them out.
I call them out in like a nice, funny, non-aggressive way, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And people like it. They respond to it because they're like, ooh.
I've been caught.
She knows I'm following, And I will tell you, I get way more responses this way.
Okay, thank you.
It's like, hey, just want to help you. I just want to help you. Also, another thing when I follow up with people, like I'll be like, hey, you're at 4 weeks now. It's so important to be taking your product every single day. I hope you're not wasting your money. And I'll tell them that. Like, if you're not taking your product, you're just wasting your money. Like, I'm very blunt. And maybe that's the Chicago in me. But that just, like, it works for me, Yeah. The thing is, I always just want people to know that I want to help them. So I hope that helps.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so think about how you're responding to people and messaging them.
Any other takers?
I have a quick question, kind of following up with that, what we were just talking about, like getting people to respond. I'm Chelsea, by the way.
Hi, I'm flipping to see pockets. Hi, I can see you.
Hi. So I've been, having issues with following up, not only with my customers, but also with ambassadors, where to the point, like, I'm sending messages on Messenger and, you can see that little check mark, like, they're not even, like, opening them. Like, it's to the point where they see, and I'm like, and it's kind of like, I bet you, they're, like, in the pantry just eating chocolate cake, and they see me, and it's like, oh, no, I'm just not even going to look at it because she's going to get on to me. And even at, like, Thanksgiving over the holidays, like I have some family members that are using Plexus and like they didn't even want to talk about it, and it's like they think I'm like the food police or something, and I'm like, it's okay, you can eat, like I'm not judging you. So I'm just kind of struggling with that a little bit.
Same thing. I experience that all the time too. And so like for like the people like the check marks that don't open my messages, I'll still message them, and then I'll look back and I'll put in my cell phone. Like I said, I track everything by my calendar. Like I'll say Sarah, 1 month since last message. So I'll make my little notes in there, and then I'll reach out and say, hey, Sarah, it's been a month. I don't know if you saw my last message. I just really want to see how you're feeling. Just shoot me a message when you can. And, sometimes they won't respond that way. So at that point, like I'll maybe, if I have a text, if they or someone have their cell phone, their friends, I will text them. Like I'll try an alternate route. If something's not working, you got to switch it up. When it comes to family, I had family members too that we were over at Thanksgiving, they're on Plexus, and like it's almost like very personal. Like they don't really want to talk about it. And I find that they really want to talk about it when they're having great results. Like, like my brother, his cholesterol has gone down, his A1C has gone down. So he's like, oh my God, he's like, well, to tell everybody at the table about it, But so it's kind of one of those things, or maybe pull them aside one-on-one when you're in person with them and not really in front of everybody, and to say, hey, how's it going? Are you still taking Plexus? And that's a question I ask a lot. Are you still taking Plexus? And I just kind of put it in their hands too. Just that you're like, you don't really know where they're at with it, But I have that, Chelsea. I'm sure Cassie has a lot of that. There are people that when they see us and they're like, oh God, and then they're like, I just literally like ate like a gallon of ice cream and now I'm feeling guilty and I don't want to respond to them. You know what I mean? So those kinds of people, I will put them in my phone and do like a monthly check-in. I saw people that I check in with every month, they don't respond to me, but I still am doing my part.
Okay. Yeah.
I do my part, and like I see they're ordering, and sometimes I'll look, and if I can see what they ordered, like one girl just ordered black, and I didn't even know about it, and so I'll just text her and say, hey, here's some tips on black. I saw you place an order for it. So kind of look at if you can see what they're ordering, if they're wholesale, look at their order history. Like sometimes people will switch from accelerator to boost. So I'll say, hey, I saw you just ordered boost. Just make sure you don't take it with the accelerator. And I give her like my 3-4 tips that I do. And you're offering value to them.
Yeah. Like I have an ambassador who's a family member, like through marriage, and she spends close to $200 a month on Plexus, which is awesome. But every time I message her to ask her specifically, questions about how it's going, crickets. And then I ask her about like family stuff, and then she responds. It's like she doesn't want to talk about it and doesn't want anybody to know that she uses it. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with you. So don't take that personal, because I have the same thing.
Yeah.
And those people, you this is what I always say. When people quit, I don't feel bad because I know I've done my job. Mm-hmm. So you have to be 100% confident that you've done.
Yeah, awesome.
Feel bad when like, ooh, I really didn't help them, and I know they could have really had success if they would have had my guidance. So I feel that, but I also guide people.
Awesome. Thank you.
With that family member, maybe call her on the phone. Just I really want to ask what's going on with Plexus. I see you're ordering $200 a month. What are you taking? Just do something simple like that.
Yeah. I definitely need to try to get her on the phone for sure.
I think that's a really good point, that you'll have people that say, oh, well, it didn't really work for me. And those are the people that I can 100% guarantee you are the people that aren't responding to messages with their ambassador.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hands down, 100%. And you're going to have those customers that say, well, it didn't really work for me. Well, you gave it 30 days and you never responded to a message of mine. I probably could have helped you change some things up and find something that worked for you. So I'm right there with Lena. I never feel bad when people quit. I'm like, I'll see you in 2 months whenever you're 10 more pounds heavier and you're like, oh crud, it wasn't the product, it was me. And kind of how I think about it.
You know what, you guys, I probably can count like 10 people off the top of my head right now that have stopped and then they come back. Mm-hmm. So if anybody stops, always leave it on a positive note. Always, 100%. Just say, you know what, if they message you and say, you know what's not working, just say, you know what, I'm going to help you get your money back. Help people get their money back. Mm-hmm. Leave on a positive note with them. As long as you know you've done your part, then that's all you can do. And I used to get upset when people quit, and like white lines. I'd be like, oh my God, white lines. Like I was obsessive over that. I really was, like, honestly, the first year. And now it's just, I just feel confident enough in my business. I know what I'm doing. I know how I can help people. And if they don't want my help, then that's something I don't have control over.
Awesome.
All right, we have time for one more question. Does anybody else have a question for Lena?
And that.
All right, well, I'm going to let Lena get off the phone so she can go kiss her sleeping children on the forehead. Lena, thanks so much for hopping on here with us. I really appreciate it. I've been looking forward to your call since we set it up in September. If you guys want to follow Lena, she always posts great stuff on her page. So she's a good one to follow. She's smart. Knows she does her research. Obviously, you heard her story. You know, she didn't just jump into this blindly. So she's definitely a good one to follow.
Yeah, please, and let me know if you guys have any questions at all. So, all right, you guys have a good night.
Thanks guys. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.